Hangout on air is live. Okay, so it's live. Let me go to, I just don't know where it's live. That's the problem. Like, is it just sitting on my YouTube channel live? Or let's see. Do you see it on my YouTube channel when you go there? Where is it live?
Yeah.
Yeah, what?
It's on your channel.
It is?
Yeah, but I just see my face.
Well, it's because you're talking. Do you see mine?
No. Oh, yeah, there it is.
Is it just slow, maybe?
It's going back and forth, but never shows us at the same time. That's awkward.
Okay, that's good, dude.
All right. Let's get it rolling.
Do you want me to control it so it doesn't do that?
I don't care.
I just don't know how to do that. All right, dude. Then I don't even, let's see. So if I go back here, close that out. Where's the chat? There should be a chat room in here. Q&A. This feature is disabled. I don't know how to make it live. If they go into the thing, is there a chat? No. Okay. 1 second, dude. We'll start. Sorry. Cameraman, Q&A.
There's the chat. Bless you.
The feature is disabled.
Are we what?
Oh, there is a chat.
Yeah.
But it doesn't show up on the thing. Whatever. It doesn't. Does it show up live for you in the chat somewhere?
The chat pops up, yeah.
But
oh, you mean on YouTube?
Like, yeah, on YouTube.
No, they're probably separate.
Oh, that's smart. Thank God they're separate. What the hell?
Yeah. So anyone watching on YouTube can't comment.
So they'll have to go on Google Plus to chat live. That's stupid. Whatever.
All right.
All right.
They can tweet at it. Yep.
What's going on, guys? Griggles TV, and I got my boy Initial Focus.
Michael. Usually you intro it. Whatever.
I just wanted you to say your name. Anyways, we're going to talk live today. We get a few stories over for you. We got Verizon kills their unlimited data. We also have OnePlus 3 battery drain. We also have iOS 10, with the new, what we think about it, and some other cool stories. Let's jump right into it. Let's go with the OnePlus 3 battery drain. Ever since the 3.2.1 update that OnePlus updated, there's been a few news stories coming out that there's a possible battery drain going on with it, which I personally don't feel it. What about you, dude?
No, I personally haven't been affected by it or seen really any of the battery draining besides, you know, typical battery abilities. But I know the article was saying like people were dropping like 1% every 4 minutes when the phone was idle, and then even worse when they were using the phone. And I personally haven't seen that type of issue.
Yeah, I haven't either. I mean, most of my day spent in a building that is kind of crappy in terms of getting a signal, so my battery dies anyway really quickly. So it's tough to say, but I mean, on the weekends and like when I recharge the phone after I get back, it seems fine, you know.
Yeah, I know the article also said not all users were affected by it, so I don't know if it was, or they were saying if it was the software update as a whole, pretty much everyone would be affected by it. But yeah, she's being a little butt. Oh, Michelle, Michael Kors watch in her mouth. So, and this.
Terrorist in there, dude.
She's jumping on that. 7-month-old puppy, everyone. Just ate a $300 Michael Kors watch.
Trying to be a star. But yeah, I haven't noticed any issues with it, which is, I don't know. There's always going to be certain people that have issues. Like, I know some people are complaining about the screen and the sound. I haven't had any of those issues, I feel like. I mean, everything's been rock solid on this phone for me, so I have no complaints at all.
Yeah, and I mean the fact that they had a huge update to fix a lot of the RAM management issues and stuff. I mean, hopefully in another month. My biggest gripe with the phone is the stabilization in the video. To me, that's the biggest thing that needs fixed. But I mean, obviously, if a number of people are experiencing these battery problems, they'll come out with an update. But
yeah, what did you think? So speaking of stable things, good segue right here. iOS 10 has been out on public beta for a week or two now.
Yes.
What do you? I haven't tried it out because I actually got rid of my iPad. I was like, I don't even use it. It's boring. I'm getting rid of it, so I sold it. What do you think of iOS 10?
So I'm not on the public beta for the iPhone, so I'm on the normal developer beta. So I'm on beta 3. They just came out with public beta 2 if you're on that, but it's all essentially the same thing. The messaging app, I think, is and I thought this when they first came out with the keynote. It's a lot. I mean, in terms of iOS, it's pretty overhauled. I like that you can now remove apps from the even the default Apple apps. Yes, they're not fully deleted from the operating system, but for the most part, they're implementing 3D Touch a lot more, which is good. There's some nice new features. Is it fully opened up like Android? Absolutely not. But it's still very much an iPhone, but it's a little bit of fresh air, I guess. It's some good changes, and it's starting to get pretty stable. This is actually probably one of the most stable betas I've been in.
Yeah.
Some apps are still obviously not working or pretty buggy, but it's overall it's pretty good. Previous years and previous betas, my phone would crash every 5 seconds and no apps would work. So it wasn't bad at all.
You know what's funny is my wife, I don't know, I feel like I tell this story all the time. Anyways, when my wife, her parents came over and yesterday, and her parents have an iPhone, her mom has an iPhone, so she had to help her mom like with Instagram or something on there, and she's like, "Oh my God, this feels so boring." But I mean, she's like, "I love the colors though. The colors are so good."
I'll tell you what though.
That's what I mean. Now I'm used to like Android's design is like the colors and stuff, like the dark sort of whites and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that's the way I feel about Android. It's like, oh my God, Android's so much more interesting and fluid and fun to use. It's like when I'm in an iPhone, I feel like everything's a box. Like the notification system, you drag it down and it's like a box, and I can't swipe and do nice things with my fingers. I have to hit an X to get rid of notifications and stupid things like that. I don't know. It just annoys me. I say it all the time, but whatever. I just wanted to throw that little tidbit of a story in there about iOS.
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, it's the same thing of like when I first picked up Android, I didn't know all the cool gestures. So to me, it was like, well, this is stupid. It seems like nothing works. But obviously it just takes a little bit of time to learn the little gestures and things like that. I was trying to one thing I want to point out, and this isn't so much a iOS 10 thing, but total cross-platform that may be useful to you and anyone watching. So I made a video a couple months ago about AirDrop because I'm always, especially doing reviews, like when I take pictures on my whatever phone I'm using and then I need to send it to the computer to put it in the video feed. Have you ever heard of the app called Send Anywhere?
I'm like trying to like get the I put myself on mute so like the video so it wouldn't keep popping back when I'm talking.
Okay.
So Anyways, yeah, I know I have not. Tell me more about it. So, because I was about to put the chat link in the chat, whatever. Just yeah, tell me about it.
Right. So it's a free app called Send Anywhere, and it's on literally every platform. So Mac, Windows, Linux, Android, iOS, Windows Phone, anything. And it's totally free on all platforms. There's no like, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, there's no like in-app purchases, I believe, just looking through. Yeah, no, there's not. So it's completely free for the whole app. And basically, any file, any photo, any video, any app, you basically just send or receive. And that's about it. So you get a 6-digit code.
Uh-huh. This is like the wackiest show ever. So it sounds cool. There's a lot of broadcasting I'll kind of take from here, but there's a lot of broadcasting type of apps that are out now. You got Twitch, which only goes to Twitch. Well, Twitch doesn't even have their own app, actually. They all use, you'll have to use a separate app with everybody. You got OBS, you have a couple other ones that are paid. So this app that you're talking about is a lot like OBS, yeah?
No. Sorry, no. I know I didn't explain it well.
Taking it back, guys.
So the dog is caged now. That's the important thing. Sorry about that. All right. So do you know what AirDrop is?
Yes.
Okay. So for those of you who don't know, it's a super easy, super fast way to transfer photos, videos, documents, whatever, from iOS to Mac, iOS to iOS, whatever. So it's an Apple proprietary file thing. Send Anywhere is a free app for all platforms, where literally if I want to send a photo, right there, you can see it.
It's all blurry.
Yeah. So you basically, if I want to send something from a device, I just hit send, and then I choose whatever I'm sending, and then it will go to another device where I just type a 6-digit code and it sends it super fast. Because I love AirDrop, and that's one of the main reasons I love Mac and iOS. It's a huge feature for me, but I wanted something to where like Android and Windows could also transfer stuff. So yeah, not an iOS 10 specific thing. Yeah, I'll have more on iOS 10 as they add more. It's one of those things of like, you can talk about little stuff, but I won't bore you.
Yeah, please don't. Just kidding. Speaking of boring things, but very interesting at the same time, Gorilla Glass 5. They come out with a new version every single year. It's based off of, it's always in the new phones that come out in the fall and in the late summer. And the first phone, I guarantee that will probably take use of it would probably, I bet will be the the Note 7 and then the new iPhone as well. Basically what happens is they're saying 4 out of 5 times, so 80% of the time, if you drop your phone from 5 feet, I think it was like
selfie height,
1.6 meters or something. I don't do meters, I do feet, baby. Yeah, 1.6 meters, 5 feet. That 80% of the time, the screen will not crack. It'll be perfectly fine. Which is awesome. I mean, imagine dropping your phone from 5 feet 80% of the time, and it's not going to crack, or at least you have an 80% chance that it's not going to crack. That's amazing.
It's pretty solid.
Yeah, that's and Gorilla is known for creating glass that is supposed to be super tough. I mean, every year they usually don't give us percentages. At least I don't notice them giving us percentages on how tough the glass is, but they always say, oh, the glass is super tough this year. It won't scratch. And then someone pulls out a knife and they scratch it. Or they say, oh, it won't crack. And they drop it from 2 feet and it cracks. We'll see what happens with this one. It'll be awesome if they can drop it from, 5 feet and it doesn't crack. I mean, what do you think the chances of it not cracking are?
Yeah, I think it's hard too, because a lot of the time it's not just they may be able to get that 80% of the time or 4 out of 5, but What I want to know during their testing is what body of phone they're using, because if you just drop a piece of glass, I don't know, and maybe, you know, I'm obviously not a scientist, but I feel like the other components of the phone have to have some effect with how the screen's going to last, because obviously if you have a curved display like an S7 Edge, I feel like is going to be more susceptible to cracking just because it's not a straight line. I don't know, but I don't know. Like you said, I'm so used to seeing advertisements, not only just from Gorilla, but from pretty much anyone nowadays advertise that their product's the best and it's indestructible and all that good stuff. So until I see it,
You won't.
but like you said, it's yeah.
You got.
It's not I don't believe it, but it's just like, yeah, okay. So when the Note 7, like you said, comes out, I think that'll be a good test, because obviously that's a huge pane of glass and a huge phone for people to hold.
And it's curved, so we'll see how well
yes,
it does. Now before we keep going, guys, I'm Gregless TV. You can follow me at Gregless TV on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. Add me. You can also follow Initial Focus. He is an awesome tech YouTuber, and he's also on Twitter at Initial Focus. It was at LLC.
Yep.
Yeah. So just Google us. Easy to find us. We do this show every Thursday at 6 p.m. This one's a little bit weird because we're having some trouble with YouTube Live, because YouTube Live is super slow for me. I was trying to broadcast from my computer today, and it was crapping out. And then he tried from his, and he's got faster internet than me, and his was crapping out. So we're thinking it's the RNC, the Republican National Convention, all you Trump lovers. He's in, because Initial Focus.
Oh, you're gonna start a whole.
It's in Ohio as well, the RNC. So I don't know what's going on.
It's probably not the case, but we're going to blame it on it anyway.
We are going to blame it. It's BS, dude. Speaking of BS, Verizon is threatening to kick off their unlimited data customers if they use 100 gigabytes or more of internet per month. So if you have an unlimited plan and use over 100 gigabytes, they will either say, sign up for this new plan, this new tiered plan, which means you'll get a certain amount of data, or you lose your service with us. That
all of Verizon.
BS, because I guarantee Verizon can handle the 2%, the 1%, whatever it is that's using over 100 gigabytes. That's a crazy amount, first of all, 100 gigabytes. My family plan, we don't even use about 30 to 40 gigabytes, which is a lot for most. Even that would even sound like a lot, but over 100 gigabytes is crazy. And I doubt that many people are actually using over 100 gigabytes to where it's affecting their quality of service. What do you think, man?
I absolutely agree. And I don't think I think that the reason why we should be angry, and really everyone should be angry and calling it BS to Verizon, isn't the fact that it's, because like you said, 100 gigs, and it's for a single person. Like on average, on a super crazy month, I can use like 10 or 15 gigs, and that's like no Wi-Fi for the month, like using it, or a long trip or something. 100 gigs is insane. So if Verizon says like, well, most people probably aren't going to use that, sure, but in 2016, I have to believe that like data is so cheap for these companies. And like you said, Verizon, they're not little like Cricket or any of the other smaller carriers. Like they're the biggest, or one of the top 3 biggest cell networks in the US. They have the infrastructure to handle, like you said, the less than 1% of their customer base.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, you can tell me in California if it's a different story, but in Ohio and the Midwest, T-Mobile used to be like the number one, and then their cell service kind of isn't as good out here. They may be coming back, but honestly, I want to jump to T-Mobile just because the company itself and like the CEO is crazy. If you have no idea about his CEO, go to his Twitter feed, and it's the funniest CEO I've ever seen in my entire life. Like when you follow him, he says the only thing worse than not following T-Mobile or joining T-Mobile is walking into an AT&T store or Verizon store. It's hilarious. But he's also doing crazy stuff. Like he came out with like T-Mobile Tuesdays. So he announced last Tuesday that for everyone who plays Pokemon Go app, any data that is used is free.
Yeah.
And then he just announced for the Brazil, what's called Olympics, anyone in Brazil is going to get free data from them. So it's stuff like that that's just really cool. And then Verizon wants to come out and say, oh, for you old, or not old timers, but people on our old unlimited plan, we're going to punish you unless you move to our thing. If not, we're going to threaten to cancel your entire service. Like, what is that? That's terrible.
That's what I hate. I had Verizon, man. They have awesome service.
Yeah.
For some reason, like they have awesome service, but the thing is that they
They're just
every
assholes.
single year they are shiesty. They up their plans every single year in terms of cost. They just actually they gave people more data, but they increased the cost at the same time by like $5 to $10 or $15 a month on like every plan they have. It's so ridiculous. And then AT&T almost always follows them. So if AT&T does something crappy, Verizon does the same thing. It's just like, dude,
AT&T and Verizon are like little butt buddies, and excuse my French, but they're just annoying little like playing catch up, like you said, and it's just ridiculous. And when I was selling phones at Apple and stuff, they, like you said, within days, if one of them announced something, the other would match it. And it's when they announced their new plans, they did away with their activation fees because it didn't make sense anymore. And then like 6 months later, they brought them back, and they told us it was to help basically
cost of something.
but to help deliver 4G LTE to the rest of the country. It's like, that's BS.
I know. It's just I could be on it. I could go on it with it forever.
Yep.
It's just if you live in America, you know that Verizon has great service, but they're friggin' shiesty. I know they're a company, they're to make money, but at the same time, it just feels like they just take the knife and they just keep going like that to their customers. If you have Verizon, leave them. You're feeding the monster. Trust me. You don't want to feed the monster. They're a freaking
start a Verizon boycott.
They're a monster. All right. So we also have let's see. You got Facebook global internet drone. Now you found this story on the Verge. What's the story with this one?
So I forget the name of Google's project. I think it was like Project Aria or something like that. Basically, Facebook is trying to join the game of creating worldwide Wi-Fi or cell service or something like that. They created this drone, which I forget the plane it was compared to. It was a giant Boeing like 747 or 757. I don't know planes that well. A huge passenger plane, which has like 114-foot wingspan. This plane has 145 wingspan, and it's just insane how long and wide this plane is. But it's basically meant to go like 60 to 90,000 feet in the air and go as slow as physically possible without falling out of the sky, and supposed to get a bunch of them up there to deliver cheap internet access for all 7 billion people in the world. And that's Mark Zuckerberg's.
How long is it supposed to stay up in the air? Is it run on gas, or is it just chilling up there?
I don't know if it's I believe the article said it was like solar or I believe it was that. But it's apparently supposed to deliver like it didn't say an exact amount, just gigabytes of data per second, and stay up there for as long as possible. Now, the story was The Verge had an exclusive to go to the test flight that was in Arizona, where Mark Zuckerberg was, and they had it up for 90 minutes. So it was just a test flight.
Well, it looks, I mean, it's definitely interesting. We'll see how it turns out in terms of if it's going to actually be something in our lifetime that comes to fruition and that actually works for us.
It's kind of like Amazon. you think of them just as like the shopping website, but once they get so big and have so much money, they start investing in other areas. And I think that's what Zuckerberg's doing here.
Right. All right. Well, let's finish up with our last story.
Yes.
The last story we have is, my camera can stop switching automatically. Sorry. I know this is a wacky episode, guys. I'll say it again. Things should be back to normal next week. We're using Google Hangouts instead of the regular YouTube. So, last story. Delete half of Walt's apps is the title that you put for this one. So, Walt Mossberg, you're talking about, the guy that wrote Steve Jobs' autobiography, right?
No, that's Walter Isaacson.
Same person. But no, sure. Walt Mossberg is the guy that usually does a lot of gets all the Apple exclusives, right?
Yeah, he's the executive editor. I forget his title. He's basically one of the head guys over at The Verge. He's been writing for them and other places forever. So very respected guy in the tech community. And he recently had a video where he basically went through and talked about like deleting a bunch of apps, blah, blah. I don't care too much about the article. The reason I put this one in there is I wanted to see how many apps you have on your main device and how many of them you think you use and stuff like that. Because I know while you're checking or anything like that, I crossed over because I was obsessed for a while with downloading apps and new stuff. So I currently have 570 apps.
On Android?
No, on my iPhone. And yeah, I probably only have like
why do you have so many apps, dude?
Love apps. Well, when I was at Apple and stuff, hold up. When I was at Apple, I always wanted to be able to recommend an app to someone no matter what like hobby they were into or job profession. And so it caused me to, anytime the best new apps came out, I pretty much downloaded them all. But I've been thinking about going through and cleaning them up, considering my 128 gig phone is almost full. But what about you? Do you find that you have a lot of apps, or are you like a lot of people who download what they need and then stick to that?
I was trying to find an app because I can't figure out on Android how to see how many apps I have. I use probably on a daily basis 1, 2, 3. I don't know. I probably use like 20, 25 a day.
Yeah, well, I'd say that. I was gonna say I'd probably use maybe like on a super daily basis like 10, but I'd say I probably use like 50 apps consistently through the month or every couple weeks or something.
I don't know if I use 50. I don't know if I'd go that high. I would probably say some 25 to 35 on a monthly basis. But other than that, I could probably live with a small amount of storage. It's just that pictures and music
video
and stuff takes up all that stuff. And it's funny because I don't take that many pictures anymore as I've gotten a little bit older. Do you find yourself taking a lot of photos still?
Oh yeah, I'm almost at 6,000, I think, on my iPhone. Those eyes though.
Yeah. Well, guys, that is our episode this week. Is a little crazy with what's your dog's name again? I forget.
Sammy, who's biting my arm off at the moment.
Sammy, and then the video issues,
YouTube,
internet issues. So sorry about this episode. I hope you guys at least got something from it. We do this every Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific. If you guys want to chat with us, usually can. We're just not using that specific one, but you can chat with us, and we do a Q&A at the end of the show. So if you guys want to watch this in the future, give this a thumbs up if you like the episode, and if you want to continue doing this show, follow Michael at Initial Focus. He's everywhere at Initial Focus. I'm everywhere at Greggles TV. Make sure you subscribe, guys. We love you guys, and we'll see you down the road.
Bye. I'll be armless next week.